And some of the relatives or extended family wanted to take one daughter and maybe not the other. And I said, oh, they're doing it off looks. Because they felt like, well, this daughter fits my aesthetic and this one doesn't. And I said, oh, no. Assalamu alaikum, peace. This is Coach Fatimah for Outstanding Muslim Parents. In this video, I want to talk about, let's discuss favoritism in the home amongst parents and children. I've seen it firsthand. I never practiced favoritism among my children because I know what it does to a child. Just for a little quick background, I'm the second oldest between my parents and my parents. My mother has 5 children and my dad had 5 children, and I was the second on both sides. So not with each other, they only had me. So I know what favoritism kind of looks like among siblings. And I've seen it in the Muslim community. I've seen it in the communities that are not Muslim, but since I'm Muslim, I've seen it in our community. And you can see what happens to the child when they witness a parent favor one child over another. One child can't do any wrong. They get everything they want. They might look a certain way. They might have certain facial features, certain skin tones, and they are favored because of it. Now, I'll give you an example of why I knew I had to be very conscious about not favoring my children among each other. Now, the oldest daughter, she was like the rock star. She was the celebrity because she was the first grandchild. She was the first great-grandchild. She kind of knew, the oldest knows they're the oldest. But we had to be very careful with that because she knew she had a certain amount of privilege. And we had to, as her parents, keep her ego in check because it's easy, especially when you're in a family that is, you got a couple Muslims and then you got legions that aren't Muslims. They don't kind of know when to pump the brakes on some of the words they use. And some of the things they say, they kind of don't have a filter. And since we're Muslim and we're practicing, we know we're accountable for what comes out of our mouths. And we must be mindful always about what we say. So one of my daughters, my oldest daughter, she's got to be the opposite of my second oldest daughter. They have different skin tones. They have different eye color. They have some other differences, which I will not name right now because they're grown women. One is married, one is not married. And I won't describe what they look like, but they looked different. My oldest daughter favored my husband more. My second oldest daughter favored me more. And some would say we favor each other, but we look different from one another. And I noticed that some of the relatives would favor the oldest, and then some of the relatives would favor the second oldest. And then because we wanted them at an early age to embrace hijab, they started covering before they were before they entered puberty. And it was important because we didn't just want to throw their khimar on their heads and go, okay, now you wear it, it's time. We were very mindful that they knew their Umi wore one and that was a badge of honor for me. And it was for them. They wanted to wear it. They didn't wear it the same way I did, but they did wear a little tiny one or a little something on their head that looked like a little khimar, even from the earliest age of a year old. Now, did they wear it consistently? No. But as I saw some favoritism going back and forth, and some of the relatives or extended family wanted to take one daughter and maybe not the other. And I said, oh, they're doing it off looks. Because they felt like, well, this daughter fits my aesthetic and this one doesn't. And I said, oh, no. So my husband and I said no. Because we saw it. We saw it. We knew it was coming. That's the thing. It wasn't that it was never going to be. We knew because we knew who we were dealing with. And it was important for us to not allow, especially outside influences, to say, well, this daughter looks like I would want to take her with me. Now, all the relatives and all the family members did not do that. Relatives are people you're related to. Family are the people that you hold dear, that are in your circle every day and in your circle of trust every day. But the relatives at different family reunions and things of that nature, a lot of them were like, oh, the girls. They didn't care. But those that would make a distinct, they would lean. And I said, let's see what's happening. My daughters look like sisters, but to some, they don't look related. And I had someone ask me, oh, do they have the same father? I said, indeed, they do. And my thing is, if they didn't, because everybody doesn't have that same family, that nucleus that looks the same way, that has a mother, father, and then the same. I didn't come from that. My husband didn't come from that. We get it. Things don't always work out even though we want them to. We understand, and we don't judge people because of it. So when it was said to me, I'm like, wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. First of all, the tone of the question is insulting. Like, what would I have to hide if they didn't have the same father? I mean, it's just such a loaded question. I know what it's loaded with, too. Anyway, I won't speak it here, but it just, the tone in which someone, people can ask to just ask because they want to know for clarification, especially in the Muslim community, they want to kind of know. However, the tone of the question in which the person asked it was very shady. And I said, absolutely, indeed, they have the same father. Don't mess with me. Don't do that to me, because then I would be very pressed to have to come at you with nothing but the truth, and you might not be ready for what's going to come out of my mouth about your personality, and maybe there should be some adjustments or an attitude transplant that you might need to go through. So anyway, that's a whole nother video, but our daughters knew that we were very intentional about not talking about skin tone and what was acceptable and unacceptable, because as a Black family, as Black women now, especially in this family now, all my daughters are grown, they're grown women. They know that it was not a thing in our house. Texture of hair, skin tone, facial features, it was not an issue in our house, other than all of them are beautiful in their own way. So they were always these little uplifted little girls, and they knew their value from an early age because we didn't let outside forces create favoritism. And if we saw it, we spoke about it, and we held the person accountable. Are you favoring? How come you didn't want this job and you wanted this? And then we just really created distance between them and those kind of toxic people, because we didn't want our daughter's self-esteem to be wrecked in any way, shape, or form. We had to be very careful. And my grandmother said some terrible things before, and she was raised in the South, and there was a lot of colorism and racism and exceptionally white and exceptionally dark, different phrases used and racist terminology she grew up with. So she still had a lot of that in her, and we had to talk to her about some of the things she would say about complexion and things of that nature, shapes of nose and mouth. But I knew it was from her trauma. She was speaking from her trauma as a dark-skinned woman living and growing up in the South, and she had to unlearn a lot of things through us. So having Islam be that dawah that she needed, and she ultimately did not accept Islam, but she knew that she had to be accepting of our parental boundaries for our daughters. So, and she slipped up, and then we had to kind of redirect her. Grandma, you can't say that because they might feel da-da-da, and we don't like that. And if you feel like you feel that way, then we have to create some healthy distance between their hearts and your words. So it's important to talk to our children about some of the energy they might be met with in the world, about some of the people that might see them as the beautiful sister or the intelligent one or the one that makes the best choices, as though the rest of the children are just utter trash. We have to be careful. We must especially pay close attention to what we say to our children about our children and about each other as parents. That matters too. That matters too. People have asked me all the time, oh, is Coach Nazir white? Is your husband white? I say, no, he's not white. And they're like, oh, I thought he was because a daughter looked a certain way. Because some people don't understand that people that are of color or people that are black people can make different shades and different eye color and hair color and textures and tones that a lot of other people cannot create. And that's okay. And that's why we need to have these conversations so that we don't fumble and bumble our way through this. And we're more comfortable with talking about racism, colorism, classism, and favoritism. All those isms that can be very negative and be very traumatic for our children and young adults. It matters so much. There's so many different communities that play on color, that play on features and education and status symbols and getting wrapped up into what kind of car they drive or what their bank account looks like and how that's the driving force in their lives, and they're very in love with this dunya and this world. So let's be very mindful and self-aware so that our children may practice self-awareness and mindfulness. And let's become good listeners and learn from one another, especially when it comes to favoritism and the trauma it can create for our children. So I just had to discuss that because it is an ongoing discussion and it is something that's very powerful in our community. It is something that is very paramount to the success, the future and present success of our children. Because if they can't navigate what is being said to them, what is being done to them, what is being said in their parent presence and how their parents are treating them based off looks or education or how they do on a test or how they win, how they fail, we have to be mindful and be reminders of one another so that they have good treatment and they understand that we're there for them in every way, shape, and form, and that they are beautiful. Let's work on their self-esteem with them. Let's not just leave it to them to do. Because they might go, you know what? I just feel ugly. I'm too dark. I'm too light. My hair is too curly. My hair is too straight. It's too brown. It's too blonde. It's too black. Whatever the case may be, let's open up the conversation for them to have. So that's what I have to say on that. Make sure you guys are commenting, liking, and subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you're notified every time we upload, because you don't want to miss a lot of this powerful information, and we want to share it and spread it out because, again, sharing is caring. So with that being said, I'm going to hit you with a little GLC. Make sure you are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. Coach Fatimah for Outstanding Muslim Parents. I'll see you all in the next one. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace. I'm Coach Nazir.
And I'm Coach Fatimah.
And I'm Coach Nyla.
And we are the founders of Outstanding Muslim Parents. I want to introduce you to something that you may be interested in because you seem like a proactive parent already just by the video we interrupted. All right. And that's called the OMP Inner Circle. That's where we all train deep dive into parenting. So whether that's the first stage of children up to 7 years old, or 8 to preteen in the second stage, or of course the teenagers and young adults in the third stage, we deep dive with the 3 C's as well as the 3 E's. So what our members get every single month, all of our students, they get brand new training every single week. That includes downloadable audios, downloadable worksheets, so you can deep dive into it. And of course, you have our personal email addresses as well. However, every single month, we have a live Q&A for all of our students. So we go to answer the questions or deal with different challenges and things that they may be dealing with parenting, because we know it's an ongoing struggle just us, here being the parents of 12 children.
Right.
Okay, so with that being said, I want to congratulate you on being proactive.
And make sure you click the link below in the description, and we'll let you get back to the video. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
Peace.